Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Monster Wrangler, the core rulebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review featuring this tabletop RPG, where you race, train and fight alongside your monsters, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about attributes, health and damage. Attributes represent the innate physical and mental capabilities of characters in Monster Wrangler, certainly. They are divided into two categories: primary attributes and combat attributes. Primary attributes represent a character's core physical and mental capabilities, while combat attributes are secondary stats that are derived from a character's primary attributes. Concerning primary attributes, strength and agility are pretty self-explanatory, but you also have energy, which is the ability to control elemental forces for monsters or force of personality for humans, therefore energy. Then you have mind, which is the mental capacity and awareness. You have speed, which is the reaction time and quickness. And you have vitality, which is stamina and overall healthiness. Concerning combat attributes, you have defense, which is the ability to anticipate and dodge attacks. A character's defense is equal to its speed attribute. There is also willpower, which is the ability to resist mental manipulation. A character's willpower is equal to its mind attribute. Then there is armor, which is thick shielding that provides a resistance to injury. The armor of a monster is determined by its species and age. Humans have no innate armor, but can gain it by wearing special equipment. You also have health, which is how much damage the character can suffer. A juvenile character's health is equal to 2 plus twice its vitality attribute, while an adult character's health is equal to 4 plus twice its vitality attribute. Then we have movement and size, which are pretty self-explanatory, and we also have the bonded limit. This is how many monsters a human character can travel with at one time. A character's bonded limit is equal to their energy, or their energy minus 1 if the character is an adult. Monsters do not have bonded limits, of course. Characters in Monster Wrangler, whether humans or monsters, are generally considered to be either juveniles or adults. Generally speaking, a juvenile human probably won't become an adult over the course of a normal campaign, unless it covers a lengthy period of time. Perhaps some time skips. Monsters develop much faster than humans and can generally be expected to become adults after a few sessions of gameplay. When it comes to humans, by default, the player characters are assumed to be juveniles, as most depictions of monster trainers in popular culture revolve around juveniles who travel the world with their monsters in search of adventure. Players who would rather be adults can age up their characters by choosing the adult perk during character creation. When it comes to monsters, the first monster a character obtains during character creation is always a juvenile. But there's nothing stopping a Wrangler from taming adult monsters once they get out into the world. Monsters grow stronger as they age, and thus, adult monsters are always stronger than their younger brethren. When a juvenile monster becomes an adult, it gains the attribute bonuses shown in brackets on its stat page. When it comes to the construct age, construct monsters don't age like living creatures and thus don't have juvenile and adult. Instead, they have decrepit and sturdy states, representing their general state of repair and functioning. Constructs encountered in the wild tend to be decrepit, but can be restored to sturdy with the overhaul ability of the mechanic class. When it comes to health and damage, every character in Monster Wrangler has health, which represents their physical well-being. When a character suffers damage, their health is decreased by an equal amount. Characters with health greater than 0 are generally conscious and able to act normally, but if a character's health drops to 0, they become unconscious. A character's health never drops below 0. If a character at 0 health suffers additional damage, or if there is any remaining damage after a character is reduced to 0 health, that character suffers an injury roll. We will talk about those in a few moments. Damage is divided into two general categories: physical damage and energy damage. While there are no inherent mechanical differences between physical and energy damage, Various game effects might affect physical damage but not energy damage, or vice versa. Similarly, some game effects might influence energy damage of a specific type, such as fire damage, while leaving other types of energy damage unaffected. When it comes to armor, as explained before, some characters are better able to resist damage than others, thanks to natural or artificial armor. When a character suffers damage, that damage is reduced by an amount equal to the character's armor to a minimum of 0 damage. Concerning the unconscious condition, when a character is reduced to 0 health, it becomes unconscious, as explained before. And the unconscious character immediately drops whatever he or she is holding and becomes prone. The character cannot take actions, of course, or reactions. Because they cannot move or otherwise defend themselves, unconscious characters have their defense and willpower set to 0. The unconscious condition can be ended with the medicine skill, or with the engineering or nature skills in the case of construct or plant monsters. There is also the bloodied condition. Characters whose health is equal to or less than half their maximum health are considered to be bloodied. Because they are noticeably beaten up and bloody, other characters can immediately discern when a character is bloodied. In addition, some game effects behave differently with regards to bloodied characters. Let's talk about injury rolls. Characters that suffer a great deal of damage run the risk of becoming injured, and they might even be killed. When a character suffers significant trauma, the character that dealt that damage, or the game master if the damage was not dealt by a character, makes an injury roll for the damaged character. Injury rolls most often come about as the result of a character suffering damage above and beyond what would reduce the health to 0. Some particularly deadly attacks might even cause a character to suffer an injury roll, regardless of their current health. The character making the injury roll rolls dice equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to the damaged character. The difficulty of this roll is equal to the vitality of the damaged character. On a success, the damaged character becomes injured. If the damaged character was already injured, it is killed. Now, when it comes to the injured condition, this means that the character is wounded and weakened. Injured characters move at half speed and have their success values worsened by 1. Injured monsters also generate 1 less rage during their turn. If an injured character spends an entire day resting, performing no strenuous activity of course, that character recovers and is no longer injured. If a character that has the injured condition would gain the injured condition again, it is instead killed. When a character heals, they recover the appropriate amount of missing health to a maximum equal to their health attribute. At the beginning of each day, if the character rested at least 6 hours, that character heals an amount of health equal to vitality and ends his or her unconscious condition, if any. If the character spent the entirety of the previous day resting, performing no strenuous activity as mentioned, that character heals twice this amount, and heals the injured condition, if any. Construct monsters are the exception to this rule, because they are not alive, they do not heal over time. There is also a variant to keep characters from dying, because you know that in some video games, anime, manga, monster trainers and their monsters, they do not die. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about combat. When it comes to attributes, healing and damage, you can handle things a bit more realistic, but there is also that variation to keep your character from dying or the monsters from dying. But you will still find that things are still pretty over the top, and there is going to be a noticeable difference when it comes to the attributes of the trainer and the attributes of the monster. Of course, these are amazing, perhaps even astonishing creatures. And when it comes to health, damage and armor, I think it is well balanced for the sort of experience this role-playing game is trying to represent. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.